Now, once again, I am still bullish, guys, and that is particularly going off of the daily in the weekly chart, right? We're delivering out of this weekly gap, previous weekly low delivery, 30,000 whole number above. All right, does everybody see the vision here? I see high potential in this potential play, okay? It hasn't performed yet, but if it does perform, I'm not going to shy away from it, okay? So for now, again, nothing, but of course that can change. But anyway, ES actually came down and swept these equal lows in opening range low, and obviously NASDAQ has failed to get down to this Asia low. So we do have an SMT there, which is a decent added confluence, and then obviously had manipulation below 11 a.m. opening, worked in this wick, decent expansion off of that, okay? Here was your 11 a.m. opening, had accumulation, manipulated below 11 a.m. opening, and then expanded to the upside, so technically working as a PO3 idea. Therefore, I can bump this up to a B+. I'm going to go in here, guys, with lighter risk than I normally been taking this week, based on probabilities of the scenario. Why am I going, oh, 2 micros, oh, this guy, this and that, you know? Why 2 micros? Why such little risk right now? Very simple, very, very simple. The probabilities of this setup, the setup is there, but the probabilities of this one is less than Wednesday's setup and Tuesday's setup. So naturally, I was risking triple what I'm risking here on these setups versus this one. Okay? Stop loss is going to go at the low that we put in from the PO3. Risking according to the scenario. Okay? 2 micros is not my typical risk. It's just the risk for this scenario right here. I like the opportunity. I like the PO3 that we're inside of. So I will take it. But of course, again, risking according to the probabilities of this scenario, right? So this is what we call, you know, taking advantage of setups, but at the same time, being very, 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 very smart on the risk management department, okay? I risked what I was willing to risk, risked it according to the scenario. I know the probabilities. I'm going to let this pan out. I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, let me cut risk, move stop, and suffocate it to death. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to take a partial. No. I'm letting it ride, I'm letting it do its thing, and I'm letting price breathe. That is super crucial, whether you're right or wrong, or, you know, you get your dopamine hit, whatever. Super crucial on the management department when we're talking about trading inside of high resistance, okay? Like, guys, how idiotic would it be for me right now to be like, oh, let me long inside of this range and expect smooth, immediate delivery in my favor? Come on, man, really? I knew the condition that I was executing in. That's why I'm using the risk that I'm using, right? In that same breath, though, why would I be expecting clean delivery right after I take my entry inside of a profile like this? I'm not expecting clean delivery, right? That's why I'm letting my stop breathe, and that's why I would not adjust. So, you know, I'm not expecting, like, straightforward low resistance delivery, because again, we're still inside of a high resistance profile. Okay, all right, and now here comes the retrace. Oh no, retrace, right? How many retraces have we been through, guys? Now if I was over leveraged right now, I'd be like, damn it, I knew I shouldn't have put on that size with the conditions that we had, right? I'm not feeling that way right now, because I was realistic with the conditions and sized appropriately. So if I was over leveraged, probably would be a lot more emotional right now. Okay, but I'm not, because again, the sizing. So the sizing is a part of the edge. Once you realize that, you become a little bit more profitable. Liking these hourly wicks, though. I'm loving how we're not able to leave bodies to this 4 hour. And that Sunday gap range I have been mentioning a lot. News gap right here. I mean, this retrace is pretty natural to me. Now, this is not one of the, you guys see me scale in to a lot of my setups. Okay, this setup is probably not one of those ones where I'll scale in. Just keeping the risk where it's at because of the conditions today. Oh no, man, candle of death. Look at that, another run down, man. What are you gonna do? It's gonna let it do its thing, man. I risk light for a reason, okay? If I'm risking light, but there's a lot of upside, I mean, it's worth the risk every single time. So, you know, like, as long as there's some type of logic that I can piece together with my system, and there's like a bunch of upside, right? I'm going to take the setup again, just with, lighter risk, but I'm still going to look to get a piece of it, right? Markets really do have a tendency just to do just what I explained. Get to your last line of defense, hit you with a nasty retrace and tough delivery, and then eventually, go in your favor, okay? So that's why I preach, guys, not suffocating your trade inside of high resistance. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does, because it's very important to learn. Now, to be honest, it depends on, we need to get some really strong, like, light bulb candles. I would consider adding in one more contract here, but again, we need to get some severe follow through towards these highs. Now, technically, this right here could be like a scale in type of entry. Okay. On a normal day, I would do that immediately. On this type of day, especially after already hitting 3 winning trades, I'm just would feel more emotionally secure. Therefore, I'm going to manage my trade better if I'm emotionally secure. I would feel a lot better in that aspect if I just left it where it's at on a few accounts and then just let it ride. So the less you give a shit, excuse my language, I'm trying to make a point here though, the less you give a shit about the setup, the more likely you are to milk it out as humanly possible, right? Get as much value out of the trade as you possibly can. The less you care about the trade, the more you're going to put yourself in a position to do that. So understanding the probabilities of the setup, you're going to size accordingly. So on A+ setups, I'm going to be way more assertive. I'm going to scale in. I'm going to use triple the risk of what I'm using right now, right? So on and so forth. So it's not about, like it has to be a perfect rating every single time. It's just about knowing the probabilities, knowing how to size on them, and those things of that nature. But yeah, definitely prioritize A+ setups. But if you're going to take a setup, for example, like B+, hell yeah, take this one with low risk, because again, the upside is just so opportunistic, right? It's low risk. And you still have some criteria there that actually meets logic and narrative. It's not just like a coin flip, right? It's just sizing according to the scenario. All right, looks like we have decent follow through there, guys. Now, if we do hit 10 a.m. previous hour high, I'm definitely going to cut my stop loss significantly. Okay, and I will look to ride it out to London high, juice it out up to London high by gradually trailing my stops once we do get real momentum. Okay, makes sense. You notice how this is worth it, guys? This is when, like, you don't have an all stars aligning, like picture perfect setup, right? Where everything has to be perfect. This is one of those setups where it's not perfect, but you definitely want to take it with at least light risk. Why? Because again, that's what it is. It's light risk, but there's a huge amount of upside potential with all the targets that we have above. So to me, this B+ setup is very much worth it, as opposed to maybe like a different B tier setup that maybe we identified, or whatever the case may be, right? So yeah, probably going to secure our 4th win of the week by the looks of this delivery. Bang. Pure conviction and confidence in a system that is proven and backed by data. That is exactly what this looks like. This is actually my 4th win, accompanied by 1 loss on the week, all live to the Discord. There it is. Boom. And on top of that, I'm obviously holding runners as I prompted my members on my live account and juicing this thing out. It is a wonderful time trading when you actually know what you're doing and are not a fake guru like most in the industry.